Donna and I tied the knot 8 years ago after graduating from college around the same time. We both landed good jobs and started saving up for our dream home right away. We don't have kids yet. I've been wanting them, but Donna just isn't interested in being a mom in any way. That's been the main issue in our marriage. We had our first encounter in college, and we've always been open to trying new things, though nothing too wild. Our bed life used to be active and regular, until about 4 months ago. What really brought us together in college was our shared love of birdwatching. We both enjoyed being outdoors, searching for new bird species. We met on a birding hike and realized we clicked. It was nice to have someone to go on adventures with who shared my interests. Our first time having closeness was in the woods, and Donna ended up loving that as her favorite spot for this. She's more of an L. Bean or Lance Inn kind of girl, never into fancy lingerie, preferring simple underwear like Hanes. I always found her attractive with her brown hair, shoulder length, and her Mediterranean complexion. She has a perfectly round figure. I had a feeling one reason Donna wasn't keen on having kids was her fear of losing her looks. I really liked Donna's thick, dark hair. She was hesitant about shaving extra body hair because she thought it might grow back thicker. But I found it charming, and I loved her deeply. Lately, I'd been working a lot, putting in too much overtime. Donna usually got home before me, changed, and went birdwatching till sunset. She kept detailed logs of the birds she saw, even though they were usually common. She was almost obsessive about it. I'd arrive home late, exhausted, and often fell asleep on the couch while watching TV. I realized I wasn't being a good husband or companion. After a few days without closeness, I expected her to initiate, but she didn't. She seemed relieved when I didn't try to get physical. That worried me. Growing up, I had a bad temper and would lose control easily, even getting into fights. By the time I finished high school, I learned to control it. Donna didn't know about my temper, and she never did anything to push me over the edge. That's one reason I was drawn to her. My parents never brought it up to her. I adjusted my workload and schedule to have more time with Donna. I told my boss I'd taken on too much, and he understood. Now, I had to fix things with my wife. I didn't suspect her of cheating, but I knew she wasn't happy with the attention I gave her. Donna, do you think we need a vacation? No, I don't think so. Maybe a short one if you can manage. I was thinking a week or two, somewhere quiet and romantic. We haven't been spending much time together lately. Brian, I don't think either of us wants to be away from work that long. Let's stick to saving for the house. Donna, I know the house is important, but we need more time together. After work, I'm too tired to do much, and weekends are full of chores. Darling, I'm happy with a short trip nearby, but a full vacation is too much for me right now. I don't think I'm ready for that. Maybe I'm just stressing too much. I want to make sure I'm doing everything to keep you happy. I'm happy, Brian. If things start going south, I'll tell you so we can fix them. We've got enough real problems without making up imaginary ones. I hope you're right. I don't want you looking elsewhere. She gave me a little smirk when I said that. Well, that was my big effort to improve my marriage. I did a lousy job. I guess I'm not any better at fixing things than I am at realizing when things are wrong. I didn't mention my new work hours. I made a weak attempt at closeness that night, but she had a headache. Before bed, I checked on her burning lock. It seemed she was going out often, but sightings of her were rare. I have a small Honda 250 Rebel motorcycle that I adore. It's quick, quiet, and easy to handle. It's not loud and bulky like those big Harleys. It always starts up and doesn't give me any trouble. That day, I rode it to work. Donna usually gets home around 4. Around that time, I told March, my secretary, that I'd be in the archives for the rest of the day. I asked her to call me on my cell when she was leaving for home. There aren't any landline phones in the basement, and hardly anyone works down there. I left work through the back fire exit and jammed a small wedge in the door to keep it unlocked. 5 minutes later, I parked my Rebel down the street from home. It was easy to hide. My wife came home at her usual time, changed quickly, and headed to her birdwatching spot within 10 minutes. I knew where she was going, so I didn't follow too closely. 10 minutes later, her Volvo was at the Rainbow Mountain Main Trail parking area. A black BMW was nearby. Since we often visited this park, I knew the trails well. After parking my bike in the trees, I started on an alternate trail, taking my time and being cautious not to make noise. Years of birding gave me an advantage here. Every few minutes, I stopped to scan ahead with my binoculars. Near the mountaintop, the trails got rough, marked but close to dangerous overhangs. It was perfect for hawk watching, especially now. You could see for miles across the valley, but it was best not to look down. I couldn't resist, and paused to scan the valley with my binoculars, looking for early hawk arrivals. It was stunning. That's when I heard giggling. The woods were thick, making it easy to hide if needed, but also hard to see anyone. I focused on the faint sound I heard, though it wasn't constant, making it difficult to pinpoint. I moved forward slowly, being as quiet as possible and listening intently. Suddenly, a flash of yellow caught my eye. It was the lining of her vest. I settled into a comfortable spot with a good view and retrieved my spotting scope. While binoculars were useful, the scope provided a clearer image and had a built-in camera. I positioned myself higher than them, ensuring a clear view. By lying flat, I could remain concealed and watch for an extended period without getting tired. It was an isolated location, so they didn't need to be concerned about being stumbled upon unexpectedly. My wife's colleague was Clayton Mankey, who joined Donna's company half a year back. I crossed paths with him at a couple of work events. He seemed friendly, and I even found myself favorably disposed toward him. However, my sentiments toward him were shifting quickly. He had a pleasant wife, somewhat reserved yet appealing in her own way, and 2 young boys in elementary school. I admired his boys and hoped to have kids like them someday. Why would a man with such a perfect family be interested in messing around with my wife? He laid out a blanket while I settled in comfortably. Before long, Donna had slipped out of her jeans and underwear. Even though they were too far for me to hear clearly, I could still catch some giggles and laughter. Donna had one leg up, offering me a clear view. As she pulled her knees close to her chest, she teased him. They began having closeness. I managed to snap a couple of good pictures while he continued pleasing her. It became apparent that there was nothing romantic or loving about their actions. It felt more like watching animals mate. As the shock wore off, anger began to build inside me. Instead of rushing down there in a fit of rage, I forced myself to endure it, unsure of what to do next. He didn't take long to finish, and after lying on the blanket for a few minutes, my wife gave her coworker BJ. There was a bit more laughter, and they began dressing. The whole thing took less than an hour. Donna gave him a peck on the cheek, not like a lover, but more like a husband. He packed up the blanket while she started walking away. It seemed they thought it best to arrive and leave separately. I was out of sight, and she didn't notice me lying there. Quickly, I gathered my things and followed her down the path, keeping enough distance so she wouldn't spot me. I stopped at the overlook on Hawk Mountain, a flat rock jutting over the valley. It was a beautiful spot, but risky. As I gazed out with binoculars, Clayton appeared walking down the path. Though I was seething inside, I remained outwardly calm. "What are you looking at?" he asked. "It's a red-tailed hawk feeding its babies atop that pine tree," I replied, pointing. He glanced over but couldn't see anything. "Which tree?" he inquired. "That one, filled with pine cones," I gestured. "I still can't spot it," he said, moving closer to the edge. Then, turning to me, he asked, "Haven't we met before?" "Yes, we have. I'm Brian Powers, Donna's husband," I answered. His eyes widened, and his last words were, "Oh crap," as I gently nudged him over the edge. Time seemed to slow as he fell, though it was only about 4 or 5 seconds. Looking down, I saw my phone ringing. Clay lay motionless, his leg twisted unnaturally. I observed him for a moment, intrigued, as I answered the call. "Hi, March. What's up?" "I'm heading out now. Will you still be downstairs?" "No, I'm almost done. I'll be back up in about 10 minutes. "All right, I left 2 letters on your desk for you to sign. They need to be sent out first thing tomorrow morning." "No problem. Thanks, March. See you tomorrow." It took me longer than expected to return to the office, but it didn't matter since March had already left. I signed one of the letters she left. Before heading home, I changed out of my hiking shoes into Oxfords, tossing the boots in a dumpster a few blocks away. Donna was surprised to see me home early. They discovered Clayton's body the next day. It made the evening news, and Donna was upset by it. He didn't show up for work today. People were speculating if he was sick, but his wife mentioned he didn't come home yesterday. Why was he up on Rainbow Mountain? Was he into birdwatching or something? Donna hesitated. "I don't think so." "Did you go up there after work yesterday?" She paused. "No, not yesterday. I had some laundry to do." "I wonder if anyone saw anything. It's usually quiet up there during the week." "Well, I suppose I should dig out the black suit." Donna shot me a quick glare, seeming upset that I was being a bit casual about Clayton's death. "Sorry, honey, I know you and Clayton work together. I didn't mean to make light of his passing." That night, I noticed her quietly crying after we went to bed, but I didn't say anything. 2 days later, I was approached at work. "Hi, I'm Detective Felix Green. Do you have a moment to answer some questions? Sure, what can I do for you? Did you know Clayton Mankey? We worked at the same place, but we weren't close. Just met him at a few work events. Is this about his accident on Rainbow Mountain? We're trying to wrap things up. Your wife and Mr. Mankey were friends, and we want to ensure there's no issue there. What relationship? They worked together, that's all. Your wife told us this morning she was with Clayton on Rainbow Mountain just before his accident. That's not possible. She told me she was home doing laundry. It seems your wife has been seeing Clayton for over 3 months. Hold on. Don't go making accusations about my wife. That's not right. I'm not accusing. Your wife shared this with us today. As for details, I can't discuss those with you. That's something new, and you and your wife will have to figure it out, said the detective. Are you trying to make a point or just get me riled up? Relax, Mr. Powers. We're not trying to upset you. We talked to your secretary, March Schumann, earlier, and she mentioned you spent most of Tuesday afternoon in the basement sorting through archive files, he continued. Not most of the afternoon, just about 2 hours or less, I clarified. I was in my office the rest of the time. I left early, around 5:30 or 6. The guard downstairs said you signed out around 5:45, the detective said. Sounds about right. I wasn't keeping track of time. I just wanted to get home to my wife, I replied. Your wife said you got home around 6. It only takes about 10 minutes to get there, the detective said. Did she mention I was there the rest of the evening? I asked. Relax, Mr. Powers. Everything's okay. We're just checking some details to make sure nothing's overlooked, the detective reassured him. You really didn't know about your wife and Clayton Mankey's relationship, did you? The detective inquired. No, but I'm sure it'll be a big topic at dinner tonight. Felix Green gave me his card, excused himself, and left quietly. I was furious. I swear smoke was coming out of my ears. Of course, I knew what Detective Green told me, but hearing it from someone else was maddening. I tossed my stapler across the room as March walked in. Brian, I hope I didn't mess up, she said worriedly. Nah, you're good, March. I appreciate you answering their questions honestly, I replied. No worries, boss. I got you covered if you need time off, she assured me. Thanks, March. I might need a few days off, I said. I didn't plan on fixing things with Donna. I just wanted to end the marriage smoothly. Thankfully, we didn't have kids, and we rented our house. Although I once wanted kids badly, now I was relieved Donna said no. It wasn't even 3 o'clock, but I packed up and left. March understood as I left. We had $75,000 in our house account. I withdrew $63,000 and headed to the GM dealer down the street. 2 hours later, I drove off in a yellow Hummer, $58,000 poorer. I figured I didn't need a new house anymore. The Hummer would guzzle gas, but I didn't care. Donna stormed out when she saw the Hummer. What's that? She exclaimed. It's my new ride. Decided I needed something sportier, I replied. Are you out of your mind? How will we afford it? She demanded. No worries. Paid cash, I said casually. With what? Did you take it from our account? She pressed. Didn't see the point in having a house as a single guy, so got the Hummer instead, I explained. We attracted attention outside. Donna grabbed my arm as we entered the house. What do you mean, single guy? You know the answer, don't you? She asked. Why would I want a house with you? Why stay? I retorted. Come on, Brian, you're talking crazy, she said, trying to reason with me. Just calm down and talk sensibly. All right, dear. Detective Green came by today and spilled the beans about your thing with Clayton Mankey. You were with him on Rainbow Mountain yesterday, yet you said you were home doing laundry. Care to explain? I didn't want to upset you. Clayton and his wife were having issues, and since he was new here, he didn't have anyone to turn to. I was just lending him an ear. Why not meet at Denny's or Starbucks instead? Why Rainbow Mountain? Clay was emotional and didn't want to break down in public. I went for coffee. Donna sat there quietly, waiting for my next move. Felt like a game. I was ticked off she was playing along. It's all nonsense, and you know it. I'm hurt that you think so little of me to try something like this. You and Clayton have been together for over 3 months, cheating on me and his wife. I'm sick of your childish lies. Grow up or shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Just because you say something doesn't make it true. There's nothing between Clayton Mankey and me except friendship. If you have proof, show it. I'm in a tight spot here. I have pictures, good ones. But if I show them, I'd have to admit I was on Rainbow Mountain when Clay died. I can't do that. I'm trying to think fast, but it's tough. I'm sweating with anger, fists clenched, veins bulging. I have some nice pictures, Donna. Would that be proof enough? Pictures of what? Where? Pictures of you two having closeness in a motel room, I said desperately. Huh? That proves you're lying. Donna froze, realizing what she had admitted. In her attempt to prove me wrong, she slipped up. She didn't finish her sentence. Her eyes glared, her lip quivered with anger. She hated losing. You are son of a witch. I'm done talking about this, and you're not divorcing me. You can sleep in your fancy truck because you won't be in my bed anytime soon? Maybe never. Fix your own dinner and leave me alone. Are we still going to the funeral together tomorrow? Forget it. It was a weird funeral because Clayton and his wife, Emily, weren't from around here. I don't know why she chose to bury him here instead of their hometown. Maybe she was upset about how he died and didn't want to explain it to their folks. Most of the folks there were from Donna and Clayton's office. After the service, people went by to give their condolences to the widow. When we got there, Emily sent the boys to a friend. Donna reached out her hand, but Emily stared her down. You've got some nerve showing your face here, you homewrecker. You wrecked my marriage, tore apart my family, and now you have the guts to come here and gloat. If I ever see you again, I'll tear you apart. You can count on that. Donna was speechless. She didn't know what to do. She started to say something, but changed her mind and walked back to the car. Some people nearby heard the whole thing. I looked at Emily as she watched Donna walk away. She was filled with hate. I'm sorry if she did anything to upset you. I'm sure it wasn't on purpose. Grow up. She cheated on you and you're defending her. What kind of man are you? Go comfort your cheating wife. You were just getting on my nerves, and I don't need that right now. I nodded slightly and headed back to the car. Donna stayed quiet during the ride home, but once we reached the house, she let it all out. You jerk. Why did you force me to go to that stupid funeral just to embarrass me? And don't tell me it was because a lot of your work buddies were there. Why did she pick on you? Forget it. You're full of it, you big-mouthed jerk. She stormed inside, and I didn't hear a peep from her the rest of the day. I ended up sleeping in the spare room after that. I wasn't interested in being intimate with her anymore, so her decision was actually a relief. Around noon the next day, I drove over to Emily Mank's place. I didn't know what I was going to say, but I felt like I should apologize. She was in the garage with the boys sorting through some boxes. Hey, sorry to bother you, but I wanted to apologize for anything I might have done to upset you yesterday. She just glanced at me and kept on working. Eventually, she turned to me. Listen, I've got a lot going on right now. I need to sort out the mess my husband left behind and figure out how to move on with my life. I really don't have time for any complaints. Can I help you with something? Are you serious? Yeah, I've got some time and I don't mind lending a hand. All right, grab some of those trash bags and follow me. We headed into the house and up to the main bedroom. This is Clay's closet, and this is his dresser. Take everything out and put it in the bags. Once you're done, you can take them to Goodwill. Can you handle that? Sure. Can the boys pitch in? Josh, Terry, this is Mr. Powers. Help him put your dad's stuff in the bag so we can get rid of it. Okay. Both boys shook my hand. Josh looked about 8 and Terry seemed around 6. They were both great kids that I would have loved to have. It didn't take long, and the boys and I were carrying the bags of clothes and shoes down to the Hummer. I dropped them off downtown and returned to the house. Now what? It's okay, Mr. Powers. You don't have to do anything more. You shouldn't feel obligated because of what your wife did. Do you know exactly what happened, or is it mostly guesswork? A bit of both, but I'd rather not talk about it in front of the boys. Can we discuss it later? Come by tomorrow. I need to clear out the basement and garage. If you don't mind helping while we talk, the boys have a play date with some friends from school. That sounds good, but I'll miss having the boys around. As I drove off, I felt somewhat relieved. I felt remorseful for ending Emily's husband, but I believe he deserved it. I think Emily felt the same way. I had no clue what to do about Donna. I couldn't understand why she was resisting the divorce. My wife was cooking chili when I arrived home. I thought I'd try to get her to open up a bit before dinner. Donna, given what's happened lately, do you think it might be better if we considered separating? No, not really. It seems pretty clear now that you and Clayton were having an affair. I assume you weren't happy with our arrangement. Care to explain? There's not much to say, Brian. Spending time with Clay, at work and elsewhere, made me realize our visions for the future didn't align. You saw me as a stay-at-home mom, but I wanted more. I didn't want to upset you by bringing it up. Brian faced a similar situation with Emily. She wanted what you wanted, and I wanted what Brian wanted. We ended up comforting each other, and things went further. He wasn't better, just different. Considering what you've said, wouldn't a divorce make sense? No way. I'm not giving up my home and comforts over a disagreement. I'm staying put. You can't kick me out. I haven't done anything to warrant it. If you won't leave, we'll just have to act like a married couple under the same roof. I'm not ready to throw in the towel. Why not, for heaven's sake? I don't want to discuss it anymore. Can we drop it? Dinner was silent. The chili seemed extra spicy, and not long after, I started feeling sick. After multiple trips to the bathroom, I began vomiting. Donna, I'm feeling really unwell. Can you take me to the emergency clinic? No way. Desperate Housewives is about to start. If your stomach hurts, take a Tums. It's more serious than that, Donna. Please, drive yourself. You're acting like a baby. I grabbed my keys and headed to the car. My neighbor was taking out the trash and asked what was wrong. I explained, and he drove me to the hospital emergency room. The next thing I knew, I woke up with sunlight streaming in through a window. I turned to the other side and saw Detective Green reading a magazine. Good afternoon, Mr. Powers. I thought you were going to sleep all day. Why are you here? What happened, and what time is it? Hey, I'm the one asking questions. Relax, and things will come back to you. Sorry if I got a bit anxious. Understandable given the circumstances. Brian, it seems like you ate some bad chili last night. Luckily, your neighbor got you here in time. They had to treat you and give you some medicine I can't pronounce. I think you had a high and low enema or something like that. What was it? They gave me the fancy name, but it was basically rat poison. That woman, what did she say? She gave us the leftover chili, and it tested fine. She claims she has no clue where the poison came from. She ate the same food and was fine. We searched the house and garage but found nothing. So what's your plan? Nothing for now. At that moment, the doctor and a nurse entered. He checked me over while the nurse took another blood sample. He said I could go home when I felt ready and handed me a paper with bland food options. I borrowed Detective Green's phone and called Emily to apologize for missing our meeting. Felix took his phone back. Why would your wife want to end you, Mr. Powers? I'm not sure. Why did she end Clayton Mankey? Do you have proof? No, I don't. But she was on Rainbow Mountain, and she was the last person he was with alive. Come on, Brian. I'll give you a ride home. Donna was very apologetic when we got home, expressing regret for not being more supportive. I went to the spare room and closed the door. I didn't feel like eating any meals at home after that. The next day, I informed March that I'd be taking a sick day and asked her to help me find an apartment. Somehow, she had learned about what happened. I waited until Donna left for work, then began packing my belongings, preparing to move out quickly if needed. I was disappointed that the police couldn't do anything about the poisoning. After grabbing a quick breakfast at IHOP, I visited Emily. The boys were at school. Emily was more upset about the situation than Donna. I assured her I'd return later after dealing with some personal matters. Donna didn't want a divorce, but she clearly wished me harm. That left me with two possibilities: revenge or money. I visited my insurance agent. It might have been foolish, but shortly after our marriage, I took out $1 million life insurance policy with Donna as the beneficiary. Although the premiums were steep, the cash value had accumulated to over $16,000. I cashed it in. Then, I canceled the collision and comprehensive coverage on Donna's Volvo. At work, I terminated the medical and dental coverage I had on Donna through the company. While the medical insurance would remain active for 90 days, the dental coverage would end by the month's close. Additionally, I changed the beneficiary on my company insurance policies to my mother. March greeted me warmly and offered her assistance in any way she could. The bank manager informed me that Donna had already emptied out the remainder of the house fund, totaling around $12,000. After explaining the situation, he agreed to prepare everything for closing the credit cards and checking account as soon as I gave the go-ahead. I opened a new account and completed the necessary paperwork. I swung by the house later. Donna was there, dressed in her birdwatching attire. We exchanged pleasantries but kept it cordial, not overly affectionate. She mentioned she was heading up to Rainbow Mountain for some birdwatching and relaxation. It felt like a setup, but I played along. After she left, I set off on my motorcycle, the Rebel. Her car was parked in the upper lot, alongside a gray Ford Ranger. I circled around the mountain to the lower lot. Her mountain bike was chained to a tree nearby. I hid my Honda on the other side, concealed by bushes. Though I dreaded the uphill hike, it only took a few minutes. From behind a rock outcropping, I observed Donna conversing with a man carrying a small tool. It was a unique tool. She handed him a photograph and a business-sized envelope. After examining the picture, he opened the envelope and counted a substantial amount of cash. They shook hands, and Donna hurriedly walked toward my direction. I quickly ducked behind a ledge and waited until she passed. The man crouched down behind the rocks, keeping an eye on the trail from the parking lot. He was waiting for something, and I had a pretty good idea what it was. Donna anticipated me following her, assuming I'd approach from the lot where she parked her car. Going back down the hiking path was quicker than the uphill climb. When I reached the bottom, her bike was missing. I took my Honda and headed to the upper lot. The Ford was unlocked, and there was a jogging outfit on the front seat. I grabbed the registration from the glove box, a pack of matches from the center console, and the jogging pants. I twisted the pants tightly and dipped them into the Honda's gas tank. After soaking both ends, I stuffed the pants into the truck's gas tank, lit the end, and hurried away. About halfway down the mountain, I heard the explosion. I hope she paid him enough to cover that mess. I might have broken a few traffic rules rushing home, but I had to take some back roads to avoid running into Donna. After parking the motorcycle behind the garage, I grabbed the lawn fertilizer spreader and began pushing it back and forth across the lawn. There was nothing in it, but Donna didn't know that. A few minutes later, my wife drove down the street and spotted me. She looked disappointed. Not waiting for her to speak, I jumped in first. "Hey, where's the Volvo? You left in the car and came back on the bike. What's going on?" She stumbled over her words, then her phone rang. Turning away to answer it, I couldn't catch the conversation, but whoever was on the line sounded excited. "Brian, I left the Volvo up on the mountain and decided to bike home for some exercise. I know it sounds silly, but can you give me a lift back up to get the car, honey? That doesn't make any sense. Come on, I'll drive you up there." She stayed quiet during the drive to retrieve her car, fidgeting with her fingers on her lap. She seemed really worried about something. As we approached the mountain road, we saw several fire trucks heading up. About halfway there, a police officer stopped us. "I'm sorry, folks, but there's been an accident at the top of the mountain. A truck caught fire. We can't allow anyone up there right now. My wife's car is parked up there. Can we walk up to get it?" Wait a moment. We stayed quiet as he talked on his phone. "All right, you can hike up to the top, and an officer will help you past the fire trucks to bring it down." "Don't wait for me," she said, as she stepped out of the Hummer. "You can head home now. I'll be fine on my own. Thanks for the ride." I just nodded and watched her go. Once she was out of sight, I followed. With all the activity, it was easy to keep track of her. When she reached the top, the guy she was with on the trail approached her, gesturing wildly. I couldn't hear what they said, but it was clear she was trying to calm him down. They argued for about 10 minutes before he spoke to the fire chief. As they got into the Volvo, I hurried back down to the Hummer. Maneuvering around the fire trucks would slow them down, but I needed to move fast. As I drove off, I spotted the Volvo turning the corner. Back home, I quickly left on the Honda. I visited Emily, apologizing for my lateness. She wanted to know what happened, so I gave her a watered-down version of the story. Josh and Terry were excited to see me and eagerly ordered pizza for dinner. We spent a few hours clearing things out from the basement for a yard sale. The boys worked hard without complaining. I wished they were my own. Around 9, Emily drove me back home, and I left the motorcycle at her place. Donna returned late, but I didn't ask where she had been. The next morning, while Donna showered, I took out the SIM card from her phone. After she left for work, I instructed the banker to close the accounts and credit cards. I canceled her phone service, paying a $200 fee. By the end of the day, the landline, DSL, and cable TV would be disconnected. I informed the landlord of my sudden move-out and let him keep the deposits as compensation. I informed him that my wife might continue staying there, so he should reach out to her regarding a new rental agreement. The water and electricity would be shut off by the end of the week. Loading my stuff into the Hummer didn't take long, and soon I was headed to the apartment March had found. A note from March at the new place mentioned that Detective Green wanted me to give him a call. I went to the station and located his office. "Well, look who's still kicking, Mr. Powers." "What's that supposed to mean?" Felix Green chuckled, seeming to find amusement in my situation. "Do you happen to know a guy named Bobby Terrell?" I can honestly say I've never crossed paths with him. I pulled out the registration from the Ford and handed it to him. Glancing at the document, he remarked, "Quite intriguing," doing a poor impression of Charlie Chan. We both shared a laugh. "Mr. Terrell and your wife have been chatting on the phone quite a bit lately. She called him 6 times, and he called her 4 times in the past week. Additionally, your wife withdrew $12,000 from a savings account 3 days ago. Bobby Terrell is a former convict known for his violent tendencies. We've been keeping tabs on him, so When we noticed this connection, it caught our attention. Any reason why your wife might want you out of the picture, Mr. Powers? There was, until I canceled $1 million life insurance policy yesterday morning. Doesn't she know you canceled it? I doubt it. Bobby's skilled at his job, and I'm impressed with how you handled the situation. He's probably been compensated already, but I'm not sure if he'll still pursue the contract without his truck. Just wanted to give you a heads up that we've had a chat with him. I made it clear to him that if anything happens to you soon, he'll be apprehended immediately. Needless to say, he wasn't too thrilled about the attention. We also suggested he take a break for a while. Not sure if that'll deter your wife, though. I've left the house, not sure what more I can do. Felix reclined in his chair. I reckon there's still something you ain't telling me, Brian. The pieces ain't fitting right. Just keep an eye out. I went straight to see Emily. She agreed to grab lunch, and I was relieved she enjoyed sushi. I tried to fill her in on the situation, but I was being vague. There was plenty I wanted to spill, but couldn't. She shot me a few curious glances, and instead of clarifying, I changed the topic. Lunch dragged on. She easily persuaded me to come over for dinner that night. I apologized for being all over the place, and she just chuckled it off. I felt at ease with her. The next morning, I felt ready to return to work. I had a blast the previous night with Josh and Terry. Emily and I had a big weekend planned, and I was excited about it. A funny thing, I didn't miss Donna at all. In fact, I was relieved not to have to deal with her anymore. It was just a quick drive to work, and I had a grin plastered on my face as I hopped into the Hummer. Things were looking up. The big rig picked up speed smoothly, but as I started down the first hill, something felt off. The brakes weren't responding. I've seen movies where this happens, and I always thought the drivers were dumb for not stopping the car. I reached to turn the key off, but it wouldn't budge because it was in gear. You gotta be in park to turn the key off. The Hummer sped up. I calmly moved the gear lever from drive to low, causing a jolt, but it continued gaining speed. Traffic and cross streets were approaching quickly. I was going even faster now. On the left, there was a cemetery with a grassy slope rising from the street. I aimed for it and pulled the handbrake simultaneously. The Hummer spun 180 degrees and flipped over as it hit the slope. Everything went dark. For the second time in a month, I woke up in a hospital room. I heard myself moan and sensed commotion around me. A nurse quickly examined me, and there was a lot of pain. While I appreciated the attention, I also wished everyone would leave me alone. It was all so confusing. Finally, a doctor arrived, and I struggled to open my eyes. Among the flurry of white coats, I saw Emily at the end of the bed, which made me feel better. After some adjustments and checks, exhaustion overcame me. The next time I woke up, the room was quiet. I tried to avoid making noise to avoid disturbing the calmness. Slowly, I opened my eyes and saw Emily asleep in a chair beside the bed. My body hurt all over. I whispered to her, "Hey, are you awake?" She looked up and smiled, joking that she was dreaming. She thanked me for being there. "No problem," I said, closing my eyes and drifting off to sleep again. In the morning, I woke up feeling normal, but still in pain. There was a full medical team in the room, but Emily wasn't there, which surprised me. The doctors had a bunch of questions about my pain and vision, but there was no one around to answer mine. I asked about Donna, who had come to the hospital to sign admission forms but hadn't been seen since. I remained unconscious in the hospital for 2 days before waking up. Emily visited every day, and Detective Green checked on me regularly. I had several injuries, including a concussion, broken collarbone, broken left arm, and 3 broken ribs, but thankfully, nothing life-threatening. The doctors were most concerned about my 2-day unconsciousness. I was starving, and managed to get some soup brought to me. Felix arrived later. "I thought you were keeping an eye on things," I said. "Sorry, we didn't anticipate this. Any idea what happened?" "Well, someone cut the brake lines on the Hummer and disabled the airbags. I went through the windshield and the seatbelt broke 3 ribs as I was thrown out. Luckily, there wasn't a fire, but the Hummer's totaled. Honestly, I never liked it much anyway." "Speaking of Donna, any idea where she is?" "She signed the hospital forms, but I haven't seen her since before the accident. I tried calling her, but her phone's not working." She wasn't too thrilled about it. After finishing all the paperwork, a cop escorted her home. I asked if she wanted to see you, but she said it wasn't necessary. "Well, it seems like you've seen her since I did. Did she leave town?" "We went to the house and looked around. Her purse was there with a lot of cash, nearly $8,000. She left behind her driver's license, credit cards, and personal stuff. It doesn't seem like she'd leave town without taking anything. We think she's just missing." "Any clue how the Hummer got messed up?" "We're clueless. Bobby Terrell?" Nope. Believe it or not, Bobby Terrell was in a hospital in Philly. A couple of guys took him there and made it clear they didn't want anything bad happening to you. Anyone you know in Philly, Brian? Damn, Felix, I don't know anyone in Philly, really. I have no idea who you're talking about. I believe you. Gotta go now. If you need anything, just ask. How about a guard at the door? We chuckled a bit. As Felix left, Emily walked in. Hey, the doc said you can leave tomorrow if you've got somewhere to go. I told him you'd be staying with me. I got instructions on how to care for you, and a visiting nurse will come by daily. The doc will see you in a week. All right, sounds good to me. Who's going to give me my sponge baths? You're the visiting nurse. Your call, I guess. At least both my legs work. I can use the bathroom on my own and sit up to eat at the table like normal. The pain meds made me queasy, so I tried to stop taking them soon. Emily and the boys were great company. I enjoyed my recovery. We stayed indoors the first week, then I had her drive me by the old house. The landlord was there, wondering about renting it out since Donna was missing. We sorted out a plan to clear out our stuff. March visited me at Emily's place. She had been going to the hospital daily and had become acquainted with Emily. They got along well. While I was getting ready to return to work, I planned to stay with Emily and the boys a bit longer. My healing process went smoothly. I continued living with Emily and the boys. After about 3 months, our relationship turned from friendship to romance. I moved into the master bedroom without much fuss. Josh and Terry seemed to think it was natural. We started going out together and attending social events. I even began attending PTA meetings. The only issue was that I was still legally married to Donna. I kept in touch with Felix regularly, but there were no updates. Eventually, I decided to ask the court to declare Donna legally deceased so I could marry Emily. I took her to a cozy Italian restaurant. After enjoying a nice bottle of wine and a delicious meal, I was ready. Emily, I know it hasn't been very long for either of us, but I truly believe I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Would you consider marrying me? Is that a hypothetical question, or are you proposing? I'm proposing. Will you marry me? Yes. But there's one small hitch. What's that? You need to meet my family in Philadelphia.